this World Cup for the U.S. men's national team. Herc, is Gio's body language, given everything that this kid has dealt with in the last week, something, nothing, or everything?
It's unfortunately everything.
Really? We're not, let me play devil's advocate as always. We're not overanalyzing this. We're not looking too much at like a few clips of video.
So there are players, almost every player, that can't hide their emotions. They're incapable of doing it. And then there are younger players like Gio Reyna who are still figuring themselves out. Some older players are a little better at trying to do it, but we're all human. You're stuck somewhere in between being excited for your team, but you're angry and you're pissed off.
Is it not
you're
just
not playing?
Is it not just that he isn't playing, but what's happened around him not playing?
And it's unfortunate what's happened around him that's put him, I think, in this weird headspace.
Yeah.
And that's the worst place to be as an athlete.
And at a World Cup, your first World Cup.
At the biggest moment of your sporting life to date, you're in this headspace. Whether it's your fault or somebody else's fault, whether you think it's just or unjust, here you are. You should be excited. Your team just pulled off a historic achievement with this very young team. And they're celebrating, they're singing, they're dancing, they're taking videos, and you have your headphones on. You want nothing to do with that moment. You want to just melt away. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. It's unfortunate that the onus has been put on Gio, which I think has put Greg Berhalter in a very uncomfortable position.
One he created with the, incongruences, the inconsistencies after
Slightly,
the first
but then
press
it was
conference.
created in a different way and then magnified in a different way.
And we have to point out by Eric Winalda, former U.S. men's national team player, because we talked about it on this show.
Which put the onus on Greg Berhalter, and Greg Berhalter is being forced to answer questions about that in the Iran presser instead of everything else. So in the back of his mind, he must be thinking, what does Gio think? And Gio must be thinking, what does Greg think? So now Gio's in this weird headspace because I still think there's an opportunity for Gio in these knockout rounds to be a hero. There's too much talent in that player to let it go to waste over some silly, stupid, rumor mill, chismoso stuff.
Yeah.
That's a reality.
And just to clear that up, Eric Winalda has since effectively recanted almost everything that he said.
It makes it...
I told you here on this show, Eric Winalda loves attention, and Eric Winalda exaggerates.
Let me talk to you about Gio Reyna. Gio Reyna right now should have been part of that game. Gio Reyna shouldn't have watched the team suffer for almost 18 minutes.
Right. There was a role for him last night.
In a defensive shell, suffering, nail-biting, praying, hoping that there's not a play, a penalty kick, there's not a play on goal, so you can advance out of this group in a very controllable game, a game that you had. Gio Reyna could be that man to come on anywhere in the field. Midfield, up top, out wide, get the ball, keep the ball for you, do something for you. That wasn't what happened. What had happened was Gio Reyna, frustrated watching this all unfold, now doubting himself in this headspace. And this, to me, is confirmation. And can't nobody tell me otherwise. I've been there. I've seen players who are there. Everybody who sees Gio Reyna, this body language, it should speak volumes to you. And it's unfortunate because it was created.
So when you...
It was created. It was generated. It was fabricated by somebody else.
Yeah, when you say everything, it makes me think that it's going to impact Gio Reyna moving forward, which is why I wouldn't put it at everything. I would put it at something.
Well, that remains to be seen.
Right, you're right, 100%. But here's what I will point out. So on yesterday's show, I referenced a report from Giovanni Reyna, who covers the Mexican national team. The big news from his report was that Tata Martino ain't coming back. But in that report, he said that the team was in their last training session, head down and fractured. Now, I spoke to ESPN's Mauricio Imay this morning, and he said, I didn't see the team fractured. I saw two very specific players off to the side. Those two players, Edson Alvarez, Jorge Sanchez, who did not play against Argentina and were very upset about it. They get the chance to play today, and how did they play?
Well.
They played well. So I think if you're telling me there was a role last night for Gio, and we don't know Christian Pulisic's status quite yet for Saturday, there could be even a bigger role for Gio against Netherlands. I would not be shocked if he plays and plays well. Because you always talk about that chip. You talk about that chip. He's got it.
And I'm banking on that chip. Let me ask you a question. Was it something, nothing, or everything for those players?
It was everything in the moment, but it didn't. It didn't.
And that motivates you. That will get you going.
But everything means to me that your head's gone.
That's exactly what I just told you. I think there's an opportunity for him in these knockout rounds to be the hero.
Okay.
To be the man. To be the player we all think he can be. That ceiling. That's Giovanni Reyna. There's nobody who has a ceiling like Giovanni Reyna. Nobody who has that talent level. Christian Pulisic may be the poster boy. The talent level for me, the talented one for me, is Giovanni Reyna. There's going to be a moment for Gio in this game against the Netherlands. There's going to be a moment for him to do something special. But now it's on Giovanni Reyna. That chip that we mentioned, what I love about him, the closest thing that the U.S. men's national team has to a Clint Dempsey, he's got that. You can see it here with how angry he was. I could only imagine if this was Clint Dempsey, how angry he'd be. What would have happened?
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.